Oklahoma. Wide open skies that stretch forever. Sunsets that paint the entire horizon gold. Farmhouses so affordable, they make coastal real estate look like highway robbery. We are talking genuine country living without the pretentious price tags. Small towns where your mechanic still fixes things instead of replacing them. Rivers for cooling off. Prairies for roaming. And property costs that make New York investors weep with envy. Space you just do not see in most places anymore. Today I'm bringing you 10 dirt-cheap Oklahoma farmhouses with serious acreage. We are going from $180,000 all the way down to an unbelievable $35,000 for a complete property with land. Some are turnkey ready, some need your vision. But every single one offers something you cannot find anymore in most of America. Space, freedom, and monthly payments lower than most people's car notes. If you have been crushed by bidding wars and cash investors, if you are tired of homeowner associations controlling your every move, Oklahoma might be your last best shot at actually owning something real. Stay with me all the way to the end, because that $35,000 property is honestly the most shocking deal I have found in rural America this year. If you are serious about escaping rental prison, subscribe now. I uncover these opportunities weekly, and the smart money moves fast. Let's get into it. Oklahoma sits squarely in America's forgotten zone, that vast middle section too far from either coast for speculators to notice, and too rural for institutional investors to bother with. While neighboring states see land values skyrocket, Oklahoma remains stubbornly, refreshingly, affordable. The population density tells the story, just 57 people per square mile, compared to the national average of 93. In rural counties, that drops to under 10 people per square mile. You can literally own a piece of America where your nearest neighbor might be a quarter mile away. What has kept Oklahoma land values so reasonable? First, there is the energy boom-bust cycle. When oil prices collapsed in 2014, many energy workers left the state, depressing rural home values. Then, just as recovery started, COVID hit. This created a perfect storm of undervaluation. Boom-bust dynamics have mattered. Most Americans still think Dust Bowl when they hear Oklahoma. They picture John Steinbeck's Grapes of Wrath, not the lush green countryside that dominates much of the state. This outdated perception has been Oklahoma's secret weapon for keeping prices reasonable. Dust Bowl images linger even when the land has changed. Let's break down the numbers. The average cost per acre in Oklahoma sits around $2,800. Compare that to Kansas at $4,200 per acre, Arkansas at $3,900 per acre, and Texas at $5,100 per acre. In counties like Pushmataha and Cole, you can still find productive land for under $2,000 an acre. $2,800 per acre is the regional benchmark. Migration data shows a shift is starting. In the past 2 years, Oklahoma has seen a steady trickle of California and Colorado buyers discovering what locals have always known, that the value proposition here is unmatched. This shift is early but real. The property tax advantages make these deals sweeter. Thanks to generous agricultural exemptions, many rural properties qualify for dramatic tax reductions. I know landowners paying less than $200 per year on properties that would generate thousands in taxes elsewhere. Tax savings can be huge, but how long will this pricing window stay open? Based on current trends, I would say we have got 3 to 5 years before rural Oklahoma sees the kind of price appreciation that has already hit neighboring states. As remote work normalizes and internet infrastructure improves, these isolated communities become increasingly viable for location-independent professionals. Expect change in 3 to 5 years. Most sub-$75,000 Oklahoma farmhouses were built between the 1970s and the 1990s, averaging 1,200 to 1,800 square feet with 2 to 5 acres of land. They are modest, functional homes built for working families. Sub-$75,000 inventory is common. Foundation types matter. Oklahoma has primarily slab and pier and beam foundations. Slabs are generally newer with better insulation, but they can crack in clay soils. Foundation condition is something to inspect closely. Pier and beam allows easier plumbing access, but may need leveling. Look for obvious settling signs, such as sticking doors, diagonal cracks, or sloping floors. Roof condition is critical. Metal roofing is becoming standard due to its durability against hail and high winds. But many older properties still have composition shingles. Check for curling edges, missing granules, and attic light leaks. When assessing land quality, soil composition makes all the difference. Eastern Oklahoma generally has more fertile soil and higher rainfall than western counties. Look for visible topsoil rather than exposed red clay, and check drainage patterns carefully. Rural property listings use confusing utility terminology. Listings will say utilities available, utilities at road, or utilities connected. Utilities available means the utilities are in the area but not connected. Utilities at road means the utilities stop at your property line. Utilities connected means the property is hooked up and ready. The cost differences between these scenarios can be substantial. Hidden costs often surprise buyers. If a property needs a septic system, budget $8,000 to $15,000 for installation. A new well runs $3,000 to $12,000 depending on depth. Roof replacement costs $6,000 to $12,000. Electrical upgrades from a 100 amp panel to a 200 amp panel cost $2,000 to $4,000, while whole house rewiring might run $8,000 to $15,000. I recommend using a total cost to livable formula. Use this formula: purchase price plus $15,000 to $35,000 in typical renovation costs. Even with these investments, you are still looking at total costs well below market value in most cases. Our highest priced property is a foreclosure in Pittsburgh County, just outside McAllister. With about 18,000 residents, McAllister offers reasonable access to services, while being about 90 minutes from Tulsa and under 2 hours from Oklahoma City. This property landed in foreclosure after the owners divorced and neither could maintain the mortgage. The bank has gradually dropped the price from $225,000 to $180,000. It features 4 bedrooms, 2.5 bathrooms, and 2,400 square feet on 15 acres. Built in 1992, it shows better construction quality than many rural homes. It has a poured concrete foundation with minimal cracking, an 8-year-old roof, and updated windows. The kitchen needs cosmetic updates, but all appliances work. The primary bathroom has features that would cost $15,000 to replicate today. The outbuildings are the real value add. A 40 by 60 metal shop building with concrete floors and 220-volt electrical service, plus a 5-stall horse barn with tack room and hay storage. Comparable properties without outbuildings sell for $210,000 to $240,000 in this area. The 180-day redemption period has passed, ensuring a clean title transfer. Property taxes run about $1,200 annually, but could drop to under $700 with agricultural exemptions. Our next property is in Sequoyah County near Salisaw, featuring a manufactured home on a permanent foundation with 12 acres. This 2005 Clayton model offers 1,800 square feet with 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. It was professionally installed on a concrete perimeter foundation and is legally detitled. Many buyers dismiss manufactured housing, but in rural Oklahoma, they represent about 25% of the housing stock. For good reason. Modern manufactured homes offer excellent value per square foot and can be indistinguishable from conventional construction once properly sited. Financing has improved dramatically. Newer manufactured homes on permanent foundations now qualify for conventional loans with similar terms to stick-built homes. Insurance costs typically run about 15 to 20% higher than comparable stick-built properties. Of this property's $150,000 price, approximately $90,000 represents land value. Those 12 acres include 8 acres of pasture, currently generating $800 a year in lease income, a 1-acre stocked pond, and about 3 acres of mature hardwoods. The market reality has shifted dramatically since 2020. Before the pandemic, manufactured homes typically sold for 70 to 75% of comparable stick-built values. Today, that gap has narrowed to about 85 to 90% in rural Oklahoma due to housing shortages and increased acceptance. Our $120,000 property in Osage County hits what I consider the sweet spot for most rural buyers: 15 acres with a modest farmhouse about 30 minutes from Pawhuska. The 10 to 20 acre range represents an ideal parcel size for several reasons. Maintenance remains manageable with standard residential equipment. Property taxes often qualify for agricultural exemptions starting around 10 acres. Buyer demand peaks in this range, creating better liquidity when selling. This 1960s farmhouse offers 1,500 square feet with 3 bedrooms and 1.5 bathrooms. While dated, it is structurally sound, with a newer roof, an updated electrical panel, and functional HVAC. The real value lies in the land and improvements, including a 30 by 40 foot barn with electricity, a separate workshop, 2 ponds, and perimeter fencing. The land includes 12 acres of gently rolling pasture, suitable for horses or cattle, and about 3 acres of native pecan trees. Water sources include a reliable well producing 8 gallons per minute and a seasonal creek along the eastern boundary. From an investment perspective, similar properties have seen 7 to 9% annual appreciation over the past 3 years, outperforming Oklahoma's rural average of 4 to 5%. The parcel size also allows subdivision possibilities down the road. Our $90,000 property in Pushmataha County sits about 15 miles outside Clayton, a town of fewer than 1,000 residents. This 8-acre property with a 1,200 square foot cabin-style home built in the early 1980s presents both opportunity and challenges. The property is 7/10 of a mile from the nearest electric line. Oklahoma electric cooperatives typically charge $10 to $15 per foot for line extension, meaning connection could cost $35,000 to $55,000. Well drilling typically requires depths of 150 to 300 feet, costing $5,000 to $10,000 complete. Clay soils may require engineered septic systems at $12,000 to $18,000. These challenges make the property a candidate for off-grid living. A comprehensive solar system would cost $15,000 to $25,000, potentially cheaper than grid connection. The metal roof could capture over 35,000 gallons of rainwater annually. Alternative waste systems like composting toilets cost $2,500 to $4,000 and can eliminate conventional septic needs. Analyzing costs realistically, grid connection would run $40,000 to $65,000, while a comprehensive off-grid system would cost $30,000 to $45,000. Long-term operating costs favor off-grid, with minimal ongoing expenses beyond occasional component replacement. Our $70,000 property sits in Cole County, one of Oklahoma's least populated regions, with fewer than 6,000 residents across 500 square miles. Once prosperous from mining and agriculture, the area suffered decades of decline, leaving behind infrastructure built for a much larger population. The property offers a 1,700 square feet brick farmhouse, built in 1975, with 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms on 7.5 acres. The roof was replaced in 2018, and interior features remain solidly functional, if dated. The land includes 5 acres of coastal Bermuda pasture, ideal for hay or livestock, with good soil fertility. Water comes from both a well and a year-round spring. Existing infrastructure includes a 24 by 36 metal shop building, perimeter fencing, and a functional chicken coop. Cole County averages just $1,600 per acre for raw land, compared to the state average of $2,800. Improved properties often sell for little more than construction cost alone. Current buyers include retirees seeking affordable living, locals trading up, and remote workers discovering extraordinary value. Rural broadband expansion could dramatically change the calculus for these areas. The risk factors include limited healthcare access and uncertain economic development, but the upside potential makes these properties extraordinary value propositions for patient buyers. In Hughes County, our $55,000 property presents a cosmetic disaster with good bones, a 1,600 square foot ranch home on 3 acres. The curb appeal is non-existent, and every interior surface needs attention. A structural assessment reveals a solid foundation with only minor hairline cracks, a good roof structure despite worn shingles, a 200 amp electrical panel from 2005, and primarily copper plumbing. Comparable move-in ready properties sell for $90,000 to $110,000 in this area. The renovation strategy follows a clear priority sequence, addressing the few structural issues first, then systems, with HVAC at $6,000 and a water heater at $900, followed by cosmetic improvements. Total renovation would cost approximately $25,000. This creates a compelling financial opportunity. A $55,000 purchase plus a $25,000 renovation yields a property worth $90,000 to $110,000, creating substantial forced equity. For investors, post-renovation rental income would run $850 to $950 per month, generating excellent returns on an $80,000 total investment. Our $45,000 Johnston County property demonstrates how agricultural exemptions can dramatically enhance value. This farmhouse from the 1960s offers 1,100 square feet, with 2 bedrooms and 1 bathroom, on 6 acres of usable land. Johnston County offers substantial tax reductions for agricultural use, with exemptions applicable to properties as small as 5 acres. This property has been taxed at agricultural rates for over a decade, with annual taxes of just $287. Compared to $1,200 plus, it would generate as residential. Qualifying for exemptions is surprisingly accessible. Maintaining as few as 3 cattle, 5 goats, or 2 horses typically satisfies livestock requirements. For hay production, simply harvesting hay meets the standard. Implementation requires filing a simple form and providing basic documentation of agricultural use. The tax savings over a 30-year ownership period would exceed $27,000, more than half the property's purchase price. This property offers excellent agricultural potential, with flat, well-drained soils and existing fencing enclosing about 4 acres. Our final property in Choctaw County represents an almost unbelievable opportunity at just $35,000. Located about 15 minutes from Hugo, the price fell so low because of its remote location, cosmetic needs, and an out-of-state seller who inherited it. Yet it offers remarkable value: 8.5 acres with good soil, a year-round spring, and a functional well. The 1,200 square foot farmhouse, built in 1968, has 3 bedrooms and 1 bathroom. While cosmetically dated, it features a solid foundation, a 2015 roof replacement, updated windows, and partially updated electrical. Outbuildings include a 24 by 36 metal shop with a concrete floor and electricity, plus a functional barn. Fencing surrounds about 6 acres, with cross-fencing creating 2 separate pastures. Total renovation costs would run $15,000 to $25,000, keeping all-in costs under $60,000 for a turnkey property with substantial acreage. The land value alone creates a floor for the investment, since raw land in this county sells for $2,000 to $3,000 per acre. Similar properties rent for $600 to $750 monthly, generating potential returns of 15 to 20%. A conventional loan after improvements would generate monthly payments under $400, less than most car payments. This property represents the last truly affordable path to property ownership for many Americans. As remote work normalizes and infrastructure improves, the window is gradually closing. Predictions suggest 3 to 5 years of continued availability before significant price appreciation begins. For serious buyers, the dream of affordable property ownership remains fully accessible in these forgotten corners of Oklahoma. The opportunity will not last forever, but for now, it represents America's best-kept real estate secret.